The emergency klaxon echoed through research station Kepler-7, its shrill cry cutting through the artificial dawn cycle. Zainab rushed from her quarters, her dark hair still disheveled from sleep, while Alex emerged from the engineering bay with grease-stained coveralls and concern etched across his weathered face. "What's the situation?" Zainab asked Commander Thrix, the station's Kaloran overseer. The reptilian being's scales rippled with distress patterns, deep purples and angry reds that indicated extreme agitation. "The Shadow Maw's offspring have vanished," Thrix hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air nervously. 3 cubs barely past their first molt. They were in the secured habitat one moment, gone the next. Alex whistled low. Everyone on the station knew about the Shadow Maws, apex predators from Kalor Prime whose adults stood 3 meters tall and could tear through reinforced steel with their claws. Even their cubs were formidable, with razor-sharp teeth and hunting instincts that made them dangerous to anything smaller than themselves. Security footage shows them escaping through a ventilation grate, Thrix continued, his massive claws clicking against his datapad. They could be anywhere in the station. Now, my people are concerned. Zainab noticed the way other Kaloran researchers had clustered together, their usual confident demeanor replaced by nervous energy. She understood why. Shadow Maw cubs might be small compared to their parents, but they were still the offspring of creatures that had terrorized the Kaloran homeworld for millennia before being tamed for research purposes. "We'll find them," Alex said, grabbing his toolkit. "Zainab, you check the hydroponics bay, I'll take the lower levels." As they split up, Zainab couldn't help but admire humanity's typical response to crisis. While their alien colleagues panicked, the humans simply got to work. It was this quality that had earned them respect across the galaxy, even from species that had initially viewed them as primitive newcomers. The hydroponics bay was eerily quiet, the usual hum of growth chambers muffled by the emergency lighting. Zainab moved carefully between the towering plant columns, scanning for any sign of the missing cubs. She knew from the briefings that Shadow Maw young were attracted to warm, dark spaces, much like the caves they would inhabit on their homeworld. A soft sound made her freeze. It was barely audible, a gentle rumbling that seemed almost peaceful. Following the sound, Zainab made her way toward the back of the bay, where the station's atmospheric recycling units generated a constant, warm hum. What she found there made her stop in her tracks. Alex lay sprawled on the floor near the main recycling unit, apparently having dozed off during his maintenance work. His toolkit was scattered nearby, and his jacket was bunched up under his head as a makeshift pillow. But it wasn't Alex that caught her attention. It was the 3 small forms curled up on his chest and stomach. The Shadow Maw cubs, each about the size of a house cat but with the distinctive metallic scales and retractable claws of their species, were fast asleep. One had curled up directly over Alex's heart, its small chest rising and falling in sync with his breathing. The other 2 had nestled against his sides, their usually fearsome faces relaxed and peaceful in slumber. Zainab slowly activated her comm unit. "Commander Thrix, this is Dr. Zainab. I've found them." "Are they contained? Are you safe? Do you need security?" The Kaloran's voice was tight with worry. They're sleeping on Alex." There was a long pause. "Repeat that, Dr. Zainab." "The cubs are sleeping peacefully on Alex's chest. They appear to be completely calm." Within minutes, a small crowd had gathered in the hydroponics bay. Kaloran researchers peered through the doorway, their scales shifting between colors of confusion and amazement. Commander Thrix himself stood at the front, his usually composed demeanor cracked by sheer bewilderment. "This is impossible," whispered Dr. Keth, the station's xenobiologist. "Shadow Maw cubs are apex predators. They should have attacked the moment they detected his heartbeat. That's how they hunt, by targeting the cardiovascular system." Zainab knelt beside Alex, careful not to disturb the sleeping creatures. She'd seen the reports about human-alien interactions before, but this was beyond anything in the literature. "Maybe that's exactly why they're calm," she said softly. "They can hear his heartbeat, feel his breathing. To them, he might seem like their mother." Alex mumbled, his eyes still closed. Heard you all talking. Figured moving might scare them. He opened one eye carefully. How long have they been here? Based on the timestamps, at least 6 hours, Thrix said, his voice filled with something approaching awe. Dr. Keth is correct, this should be impossible. Young shadow maws are programmed by millions of years of evolution to hunt anything with a heartbeat. Unless they recognize something familiar, Zainab mused. Alex, what were you doing when you fell asleep? Just routine maintenance on the recycling unit. Was humming while I worked. Old Earth lullaby my grandmother used to sing. Alex smiled slightly. Guess I dozed off. Woke up with company. Dr. Keth was frantically taking readings with his scanner. Fascinating. The cubs' stress hormones are at the lowest levels we've ever recorded. Their brain activity suggests deep, restful sleep, the kind they would experience with their mother present. Commander Thrix approached slowly, his massive frame moving with unusual delicacy. In all my years studying our apex predators, I have never seen anything like this. How is it possible that a human, a species these creatures have never encountered, could provide such comfort to our most feared predators? Zainab looked at the peaceful scene before her and thought about everything she knew about humans and their unique place in the galactic community. They weren't the strongest species or the smartest or the most technologically advanced, but they had something else, something that had allowed them to form bonds with countless alien species across the galaxy. Maybe it's because we understand what it means to be small and vulnerable, she said quietly. Humans spent most of their evolutionary history as prey animals themselves. We know what it feels like to need comfort and safety. One of the cubs stirred slightly, nuzzling closer to Alex's chest. He remained perfectly still, his breathing steady and calm. There's something else, Alex said softly. My grandmother always said that predators can sense fear, but they can also sense love. Maybe these little ones just needed to feel safe. As if responding to his words, the smallest cub opened one golden eye, looked directly at Alex's face, and made a sound that was almost like a purr before settling back into sleep. Commander Thrix's scales had shifted to a warm blue, the Caloran expression of profound respect. Dr. Alex, would you be willing to assist with our Shadow Maw research program? It seems you have a unique gift. Alex chuckled softly, careful not to disturb his sleeping companions. Happy to help, Commander, though I think the real lesson here isn't about me. It's about what happens when you approach anything with kindness instead of fear. The cubs continued to sleep peacefully, 3 of the galaxy's most feared predators finding comfort in the steady heartbeat of a human who had simply offered them what they needed most, a safe place to rest. And in that moment, everyone present understood why humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through conquest or superior technology, but through their incredible capacity to extend compassion to even the most unlikely recipients.